Hey guys, welcome back to Red Devil TV. Man United beat Melbourne 4-1. Guys, it was a game where, look, it was a frustrating game to watch because it was one of those games where, look, we're attacking, we're keeping possession of the ball. But I tell you what, it was a good thing to see. I enjoyed seeing us get, I think it was 75% possession we had the whole game. And when was the last time we even had more than 58% possession in a game? The whole of last season, right? You look at the Tottenham game where we beat them 3-2. We had around 48% possession. In that game, it felt like we had more, but we had less than Tottenham. Even the Arsenal games, I feel like we had, maybe it was a 50-50. Arsenal may have had a bit more than us. Many games last season, we were on the lower percentage of possession, right? And when you look at yesterday's game, and I know it's Melbourne, but one thing I will say is that Melbourne kept their same team in the second half. And then you saw Savage come on, Iqbal led, Chong came on as well. And then obviously you saw Tellez coming out centre-back. And you saw pretty much a weakened team. Ahmad as well up front. But one thing I will say is I was incredibly impressed with some of these young players. And now I'm not saying that some of these young players need to start obviously next season. It's not how it is. I think a couple of these players will go on loan. A couple of them might be on the bench next season. I think Ten Hag will try and encourage that. Iqbal was absolutely phenomenal yesterday when he came on. The control on the ball, the composure, the skill. His passing was phenomenal as well. You can see the confidence in his ability, and I was very happy to see that. Savage is a player I'm very interested to see in the next couple of years because his long-range passing and his ability to just get out of danger, and he comes in between the centre-backs, he gets the ball and he drives it forward. That's exactly what a CDM should do. And I'm not saying he does it better than Fred and McTominay, but what I'm saying is he does it better than Fred and McTominay. Honestly, like, Fred and McTominay don't do that. And even when Fred does that, I get worried when Fred drops deep and gets the ball between the centre-backs. He's not as composed on the ball. His passing can be suspect. And he's not as mobile. Savage, when he got on the ball, long-range passing, he could have had 2 assists yesterday as well. He could have had 2 assists. Some of those long balls that he was doing were great. Passes in between the lines were fantastic. Savage is a player I'm really interested to see. Obviously, Iqbal as well. Chong done well when he came on. Led as well on the right. I think Ahmad, for me, Ahmad, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's his physicality. I don't know if it's his. Look, at the end of the day, we were facing a team that was sitting in the 5-3-2, and it was hard to break. It was kind of hard to break them down. I'm not gonna lie. Some of those goals were, lucky. The McTominay goal was lucky. But they made it harder for us. Of course, we dominated possession and we pretty much dominated the chances we had. But it did cause us trouble on the counter-attack. And this is one thing I'll say. You can't play Maguire and Lindelof together in the Ten Hag system. We were playing high up the field. That goal that we conceded was because of Lindelof and Maguire. I'm not going to just blame Maguire like everyone was. Lindelof was at fault as well. He doesn't have enough pace. And Maguire doesn't have enough pace either. In the second half, we saw so many times where Melbourne were in and Bailly just had it covered. His pace was enough. Of course, he has some dodgy moments in terms of his passing out from the back, but his tackles, his interceptions, his reading of the game, and his pace, it doesn't even compare to Lindelof and Maguire. I got to be honest, and I want to see Bailly and Varane together. Now, obviously, Martinez and Eriksen are basically Man United players now. Martinez at centre back with Varane will be interesting. I think Bailly will be sold because I don't think that Ten Hag will want to keep him. Weird enough, because he got an assist yesterday. That's the second time now in that's both games he had an impact on the goal, and the influence he had on the goal was incredibly, like, it just made me happy to see him play so well, because yes, he had dodgy moments on the ball from the back. Bailly's one of these players where he's too relaxed and then he can lose a bit of that focus in that moment, and then a mistake happens, right? But Bailly's a play for me I actually really, really rate, and if one of these centre backs were to go for me, it would be Maguire. Obviously, it's not going to happen. I think Ten Hag, hopefully he learned that he can't play Maguire and Lindelof together. Not enough pace, not enough agility, and even, listen, and in 1v1s, of course, because they don't have enough pace, that's going to impact their my centre-backs in those situations. They're just not good enough in those situations because they don't have enough pace. And even Bailly, Bailly has enough pace, more than enough pace, but his reading of the game, he's well ahead. And that's simply because he's got enough pace and he's agile. And he's skillful in defence as well. He'll make an attack. I think he's going that way, then it goes this way. Lindelof and Maguire don't really have that sort of skill, also because they're not quick enough. If Lindelof and Maguire really wanted to play together, would have to play a deeper line. They would have to, start a couple deeper because they don't have enough pace to recover. And you saw Bailly yesterday in the second half was phenomenal. He needs to be played more. And some of those runs that he was doing were phenomenal. Of course, there's a risk to do that because if they get caught out, we're done. But he still has enough pace to recover. So I was incredibly impressed with Bailly and the youngsters as well. Savage, I was really impressed with Iqbal. Again, I was impressed with Rashford yesterday. I liked his composure. I liked his passing and his... of course, he still went for that 1 or 2 shots where he thought he had opportunity, which was fine. We were dominating the game. I enjoyed... I question Rashford's ability in possession because I don't think he's as good in possession as Van der Beek or Sancho. And listen, I don't think Van der Beek was great yesterday, but I mean in the general sense of Ten Hag's style and Ten Hag's way of playing football, I don't think Rashford is the best player in possession. Now, that being said, I thought yesterday he was really good in possession. I did think he was composed, he was patient on the ball, passing around well. I don't think he's the best long passer of the ball. Of course, he's a winger, so he is gonna, he's gonna cut in and shoot. But in Ten Hag's possession, in Ten Hag's style of football and his philosophies, you're gonna see a lot of teams where they're gonna sit deep and we're gonna have possession in the ball next season. I'm talking 60-70%, and we're gonna need players who can keep the ball, be patient. Again, Bruno is someone who's impressed me yesterday because I thought he was very patient. Of course, he still goes for that odd ball that's never there. It's going to happen with Bruno. He's just that type of player where he looks for a ball that in his mind is going to happen and it's just almost impossible for it to happen. Of course, a player of his ability can always make it happen, but it's too much at times from Bruno. But I thought yesterday he was 90%. I mean, his passes were great. I was very impressed with Bruno yesterday. Rashford very impressed. Martial again. This is going to be so interesting because now Lewandowski's gone to Barcelona. If Ronaldo goes to Bayern, is Martial going to be at striker? I wouldn't mind seeing Rashford, Martial and Sancho. Honestly, I think that's our best front three. I think Ronaldo still has a place in this team, but are we going to miss him? I think the only time we'll miss Ronaldo is in situations where the mentality is not at his level. Look, none of these players, I don't really trust some of these players really, and I don't trust their mentality at times. If there's a player who needs to dig us out of a hole, it will either be Ronaldo or Bruno. And I feel like there's no player like Ronaldo in those sort of situations like we saw last season against Tottenham, against Norwich, against Arsenal. So we'll see what happens, but I was incredibly impressed. I still think Fred and McTominay are not a decent midfield to against. Look, we're going to face Palace and Villa next, so I'm excited to see what Ten Hag is going to do because I'd like to see a midfielder come in ASAP. Like this De Jong deal is dragging out. He doesn't want to leave. Mate, please go for Ruben Neves, please. He's a great player. You already got Martinez at centre-back. Eriksen at cam. Bruno might play in a false 9. We have to see what happens there. But, guys, I'm excited to see this team because I'm seeing a lot of progression. I know it's only 2 games and it's pre-season, but we weren't playing like this last season. We've seen pre-season games where we're not dominating possession. Last season, we struggled against Atalanta, these young boys, all of these teams that are not good teams at all. So, we can say it's pre-season and how Melbourne have been battered by every team in the Premier League, but we've struggled against bad teams last season. We've struggled against bad teams and we've conceded a lot of goals. We've only conceded one goal in the last 2 games. And Liverpool, people can say about Liverpool, they're playing a weakened team. They played a strong side in the second half. We had the youngsters, we still scored. Yesterday, the youngsters stayed on the second half and Melbourne kept their first team. Yeah, they were tiring out, but they're still youngsters who don't have that much experience. But we saw the confidence in our young players and I'm excited to see the future. So, guys, let me know what you think. Please make sure to like and subscribe and I'll talk to you guys later. And one thing I will say, Sancho is going to be one of our best players this season. Talk to you guys later.